Hi, this is my 10 question video supplement for my application to Truly Home Cabinets. I am Alvin Diaz. Uh, to answer the first question, who are you and what have you done? Again, I am Alvin Diaz. I'm actually an old guy. I'm 49 years old. What I have done in operations and leadership, yes, looking back in my past work, I have done uh, leadership positions and I have handled operations management. I have been involved in multiple industries. I started with construction. Um, I was also involved in mining. I did logistics. I did renewable energy. I did business process outsourcing. I had experience in tech retail marketing. I had experience in digital marketing. I had experience in social media marketing and experience in real estate sales and marketing as well. In fact, the last 2 years of my professional experience have been in real estate. Um, however, I think I do my best work in construction because I spent 16 years in construction um, in my own construction firm. Uh, anyways, going to question number two. You step into a leadership role where things are a bit chaotic. Priorities aren't always clear. Ownership is fuzzy. Everyone's working hard, but the company needs structure and stronger operational leadership. What are the first three things you would do? Hmm. Probably I would. The first thing I would do is get to know the team, and then I would get to know the company. Uh, I would align myself. I would sit down with the CEO to get to know the CEO and align myself with the company's mission and vision. What do your first 2 weeks look like? It would look like as if I am a student, learning and absorbing everything I can from the company's current operation. And what do I hope to have accomplished by the end of the first month? By the end of the first month, I would love and I would really need to know a lot about the company, what's making it tick. Of course, part of that would be in operational research. I would, you know, research on the company's market landscape, competition, and things like that. I really need to know a lot about the company, and that's what I would expect. When you say be specific and walk us through your approach, my approach would be sitting down with the people, company, research, doing market landscape research online, um, looking at the competition, conducting my own feasibility and SWOT analysis, I think. Uh, Also, another one I could apply is the pastel analysis to get to know the company. The third question is my operating system. Describe the operating system you implement to keep a company aligned. Cadence, priorities, accountability, and reporting. What does the weekly rhythm look like when it's working? Right. The operating system, which I would be putting, is I would most likely start with after the operational research. I would then come up with an organizational chart, which has a matrix for accountability as well. So I could call it an accountability chart as well. This is one structure I would like to implement, and then I would start with SOPs or standard operating procedures. Part of the procedures would be weekly meetings, bi-weekly meetings on the first day of the week and the last day of the week. The system cadence, we would also have the usual cycle, which is a quarterly cycle, wherein there would be reports on performance, milestone reports, rocks, which needed to be achieved for scaling the company. Priorities. When I say priorities would always be on the brand, the deliverables, cash flow, and scaling alignment on if we are on a roadmap, or we are in the path to growing the company, to scaling the company. When it comes to accountability, the accountability matrix or the accountability chart would be the guideline. I would also be setting some key performance indicators in every project for every person in the team. When it comes to reporting, there would be weekly, there would be monthly, there would be quarterly, year end, and it depends on how much we need it. I think the more the more people are in the know, I think it would be better for us. Anyways, going to question number 4: prioritization under pressure. When there are too many initiatives and everything feels urgent, how do you decide what gets done, what gets delayed, and what gets killed? What criteria do you use? Okay. In construction, putting words into the ideas that I did in the past, I think I followed the critical path method when in thinking what decides to get done. So it's how I would decide to determine what's urgent or not. However, aside from that, I also have to consider the urgency versus impact. Another one is cost, which is it plays a huge part in my decision making back then, because when I was doing contracts, when I was getting projects, my profit margin was too low, was really low, that every peso counts, every in your case every dollar counts. It's the same with mine. I have to consider cost over the impact. Sometimes I disregard safety because safety wasn't much critical back then. But in construction of ground up construction, safety is my number one priority. So I always put safety first. As they say, safety first. In fact, we do have toolbox meetings twice a week as well instead of just one, because we implement safety as a priority. I am also a certified officer for safety and health. So, anyways, that's certified occupational safe construction occupation safety and health certified. That's what I mean when I say COSH. Sorry about that. Anyways, number 5 is visibility to leadership. What information should a CEO receive to have real clarity without being buried in the noise? How would you package that information, and how often do you deliver it? Okay, when I did my construction firm back in the past, I was the CEO and the operations manager in one. What I would like to see is the company health. If we are on the red, operational health. I would also like to see the cash flow. I would always want to be informed of the financial status of the company. I would like to be involved with the marketing. I would like to see how the branding is affecting the marketing, or how the marketing is performing when it comes to branding. I would like to see the deliverables, if we are on time or not. I would like to see the manpower operations of things, if we are safe for the past 100 days or so. Also, in moving forward, I would like to see trends which would be coming, emerging trends. I would like to see events which are going to be happening. What else would I like to see? I would like to see my stand against the competition. I would like to see projects, especially when I was doing government projects. I would like to see the list of the government projects which are coming, because I bid for those things as well. And I think at this point I would like to sit down with the CEO to pique his mind, to get to see what's running in his mind, on what he wants to see, or what else he wants to see. um, and that's what I would show. When it comes to how often I would deliver it, I think I should deliver it once a week until or whatever is demanded by the CEO. Website and technical execution leadership. Explain how you run a website and technical initiatives when multiple people are involved. Okay, when we do websites, this is where we also have the creative parts, the developers, which are the IT guys. Of course, a website is used for marketing, so it should reflect the company's brand, the company's mission. It should be able to tell everything about the company. It should be able to tell you how to reach the company and what the company's services are and how we value people. If as much as possible, it shows the company's background. Um, and operating a website, yes, operating a website, oh, well, I've done that in the past. We've operated a website. However, I wasn't really technically involved. I was more on the creative side and how I would want the website to be ran. How do you keep momentum and prevent stalls and ensure quality? Oh, prevent stalls. I have to make sure that someone's maintaining the company website. When it comes to momentum, geez, I don't really know. We don't really lose momentum on a website, but we try to keep the website as active and as updated as we can, as much as possible. If it can be done every week, we do it every week. For every project delivered, we update the website. For every trend that's happening, if there's the news feed on the website, we'll put that as well. If it's going to be working to our advantage and it's aligned with the brand, we do that as well. How I ensure quality. Oh, on preventing stalls, uh, I hope it doesn't happen that we lose the website address, and it gets ransomed to us. So I think there are contingencies that we can take to prevent stalls for the website. When ensuring quality, before we do open or we make a website live, we do check it. Yes, I do check it. I ensure the quality. I proofread everything that's in there. Um, I have user experience. I get people for user experience, and experience on interface as well. I do the same thing as well on the website and make sure that everything is going to be smooth and flowing. What else? There are a lot of things I can say. It's just as of the moment, I can't say much. Anyways, going to marketing, sales, and operation alignment. All right, number 7, we are a service based company. Customers move through a journey that includes marketing, consultation, design planning, and fulfillment. Where do you typically see breakdowns in that kind of funnel, and how do you fix them operationally? Okay, customers move through marketing, consultation, design planning, and fulfillment. Is the fulfillment the sales? If the fulfillment is delivery, then I think I can see a gap here oftentimes in the sales closing. In sales closing, where we submit the quotation, it's oftentimes the client uses it as a guideline for browsing from other service providers, and they usually base it on the budget. So this is where I think we can have some improvements operationally. Actually, I found out that there's a technique in closing the sales, and there are people who are undergoing continuous training or additional training for this, and I think this is where I would need that as well, closing the sale. So oftentimes the client, they would reach out through the website, and then they would ask consultation, and then eventually there would be coming a design and then a quotation or a proposal. This is oftentimes where it breaks down, where we lose the client because of values and price. So This is where the gap is, and I think this is where we could improve it if the sales is down. Anyways, moving forward, number 8 is conflict and difficult conversations. Tell us about a time you had in conflict with a direct report or key team member. What did you do? What did you say? And what was done? Right. High level meaning sea level conversations. I'm sorry, I don't think I'm that guy who really is um, very technical with words. I don't mince words. I usually say them as I see it fit. And just to give a background on meetings, on team meetings, and then a conflict arises, if it's a project related matter, there are time for that. There's a time for that after the team meeting. However, sometimes it comes to a point where the conflict becomes personal, and at that point, I would probably just say, I've heard you, I've noted your issue, and this is something that we should resolve outside the boardroom. If we can do this on a personal matter, I think that would be the best. What was the outcome? Outcome is I oftentimes resolve the issue. Working in a company with unresolved issues isn't a healthy practice. So as much as possible, if it can be resolved, it should be resolved. However, if it becomes too deep on a personal issue or a personal matter, this is where HR comes in. And if it doesn't get resolved on that part, this is where kicking out a team member comes in, and I'm not very comfortable with that. So, anyways, underperforming report under my team. A direct report under my leadership is consistently missing expectations. Walk us through exactly how I would handle it, from diagnosis to expectations. Right, there are key performance indicators and performance reviews for team members. A team member who is consistently underperforming would most likely get the boot. Uh, from my father, I heard him say one time, hire fast, fire fast. If they don't work, just get another one. And don't spend too much time on it. That's a conflict for me because sometimes I'm a guy, I'm a Catholic guy, and you know, some team members, I do know they have potential, but they're kind of slow on the learning curve, but they can do it. So these are the chances that I give to people. If I think I have seen that they have problem with their performance, I would talk to them with an expectation of them having improvement after the talks or having a certain program implemented on their performance. I would most likely talk to them if they need retraining or continuous learning. I would do that. The performance plan, the performance plan is usually handled by their direct superior. If there's an operations coordinator or a manager they report to, that's actually done by that person. To the decision point, if performance doesn't change. If performance doesn't change, then that's where we have to cut the ties with that employee and hire another one. It's hard, yeah, but it's a part of life. And if we are in a team, I think the team's survival is more important than one person's how do you say this, one person's interest. So anyways, going to the 10th question is self-awareness and fit. What are your biggest weaknesses in a role like this, and what guardrails do you put in place so your weaknesses don't hurt the company? Okay. At my age right now, I tend to forget a lot of things. So if there is something that I need to do, or if there's a decision I need to make, I need to have it implemented as soon as possible. If the changes are needed, it has to be executed as soon as possible. So I would just jot it down and do follow-ups. Um, my guardrail is actually almost, I log the things that I do every day. However, sometimes I tend to forget the strategic decisions that to log this strategic decisions that I have executed or implemented. And I think if I should put guardrails on that, I should take the time to kind of put a more data-driven log. So that's what else? I know there are other weaknesses. All right, other weaknesses. Ah, jeez. Sometimes I do micromanagement. If I am unhappy with a guy, a person who reports under me, I do micromanagement, and this is something that takes a lot of my time from. It takes my time away from where I should be concentrating on. So I did manage to put accountability. That's when I learned how to incorporate accountability charts with the org chart. Although I haven't done that practice when I was doing construction, uh, but I think that worked. That thing worked when I did tech retail and logistics and mining. So those are the guardrails. What else have I missed when it comes to weaknesses? Uh, in the past, I did undergo burnout. I experienced burnout. This was in the Digital Springs, in the digital marketing company called Digital Springs, wherein the government issued a memo for us to cease and desist operations because of compliance issues. But there's a lot more to that story. So that was when I experienced burnout. But that was too much. That was really excessive, and even the strongest persons would. Sorry. So, anyways, I have to edit the video because my phone died. I believe I was able to complete the 10 questions, and at this point, I would just like to say that if there are more questions that you'd like to ask, I would be very much glad to receive a call or an online meeting from you guys. And there are a lot more I can say. So I do hope you consider my application, and thank you very, very much.